Let's make a Widebody Fiat 500. Take the car apart using a Dremel tool. Uninstall the stock wheels. Strip the paint off. Scrape off the stripped paint. Give it a good sanding. Take a soda or energy drink can and cut up some pieces of it. Glue each piece to the wheel wells. Take some Milliput epoxy putty and knead a piece of each stick together. Put the putty on the car to create the Widebody fenders. Cut off any excess putty. Flatten it with a popsicle stick. Dip your finger in water to smoothen the putty. Take the aluminum piece off. Repeat the process for the other fenders. After the putty is finished hardening, sand them and file them to get them the right shape. Carefully take each fender off and cut up the wheel wells. This is done when installing Widebody kits on real cars. Glue the fender back onto the car. Then grind down the inside of the fenders, be careful. Now let's add a rear spoiler. Chop up a paperclip for the pillars. Do anything to make sure they're of equal length. Super glue each pillar to the car. Now take a polystyrene sheet for the main plate of the spoiler. Don't forget the end plates. Spoiler is complete. Now let's install some wheels. Also gonna be using a 1/16 aluminum tube for custom axles since this is a Widebody project. Trim up the interior piece. Now install the aluminum tubes for our custom axles. Now trim up the chassis and sand it down. Put a bit of super glue on the tips of the axles and install the wheels. All the wheels are secured. Stay tuned for part 2 of this build. Part 2 of the Widebody Fiat 500. Prep it for paint by sanding it down. Ready for paint, but first lay down a coat of primer. This is the color I chose. I ended up applying 2 coats. Now for the hardest part, which is adding details. Details are done. Now it's time to add a clear coat. Let's fix this problem by sanding down the wrinkles and touching it up. Now let's paint the interior black. Now we're gonna use a 3/32 aluminum tube for a custom exhaust tip. Super glue the car back together. Last but not least, we'll add the license plate. And just like that, the Widebody flat is finished. Thanks for all the views on part 1 and be sure to stay tuned for more builds.